Hello and welcome to the Bitcoin.review podcast, where we explore developments and projects with the people who actually make them happen. The show is supported by Pod 2.0, Sat Streaming, and CoinKite. If you're a new listener, I'm NVK. I run CoinKite, where we've been helping people secure their Bitcoins for over a decade. We make the COLDCARD and fun products like the block clock. You can find more information about it on CoinKite.com. Hello and welcome back to the Bitcoin Review podcast. We just had a conversation off the record that was great, and you're never going to find out about it. It's just the nature of public-private conversations, just like public-private cryptography.
Happens in the group chat, stays in the group chat.
That's right. And we lost those ephemeral keys. I had an ephemeral key accident. Let's just say that, if you're looking for a small Bitcoin-backed loan and you want... Hodo's great. All right. Housekeeping. Nostr DVM Playground. Oh, yeah. So on the data machine.ai, this project that we're working on.
What are your things?
Yes. So we now have more DVMs. There is a people search and people discovery. People discovery is very cool, and you can create a job. This is not supposed to be like this. The Nostr people are supposed to integrate this shit into the clients. But because they haven't, we created the UI for them to start DVMs.
Have you seen dvmcp.fun?
Yes, we're working on it.
Okay.
The guy that presented at Cyber Engineering had the logo, our logo on it.
Right.
I think Nostr DVMs are very interesting.
Yeah, and I like a lot of times I think of Nostr as just like it's a way to talk about APIs with each other. And so like MCP is also one of those things. So I feel like there's a lot of potential synergy. It's nothing fancy. It's literally just like a JSON list of functions you can call, but that ends up being pretty powerful.
That makes so much sense. I hadn't thought about that. Nostr and MCP.
MCP is horrible, but normally horrible protocols is what becomes the standard. So, Rob, sorry, I cut you off.
No, I just was, to Paul's point, I hadn't thought about the intersection of Nostr and MCP, but that makes perfect sense. It's just people talking to each other, doing things and organizing. Basically, you're providing like a batteries included loaded context for large language models to be able to do things, right?
That's a good way of putting it.
It's batteries included, right? You give it the manual, and the problem with large language models at times is if you're just arbitrarily just typing into it, it hasn't read the fucking manual. So MCP is like, here's the fucking manual, now do the thing, and and then it's really good and performant, right? So it's a good way, batteries included, to do other things, right? I saw Andre Neves, this Zebedee. He did a whole Zebedee MCP, so you could do lightning payments and like do a bunch of things, like all just talking to a large language model. It's pretty cool, right? Just being able to kind of have the language model do the code things on the back end, like an agent.
Yeah, no, it's because it's kind of funny. I think we got to a point now where the raw computation capacity is there. Like these models can pretty much do anything. Now the real challenge really is with the prompting, and even the alignment is kind of like fine. It's just like it really is how you guide, because like our favorite topic, the vibe coding. It's kind of fascinating, right? Because if you just open cursor and you start doing shit, like Jesus Christ is horrible, right? Like it's like having a drunk genius just fucking going nuts, right? Like it's just like and it just wrote 10 new libraries, for cryptography.
That's my user prompt is just do one thing.
And then as you add like a lot of prompts there, it really sort of hones down and it becomes very good. I am now amazed at it. Like it really is. I would not do anything that is money handling on it yet, but for business sort of software, it's there.
I'd agree with that. I've started messing around with it a little bit on small like demo dev features to get something like as a proof of concept out, and it's good. For all of the, I would call, critical infrastructure of what I'm building, maybe it could poke at something after the fact as like a assistant code review or kind of feedback mechanism, but it's not something that I'm having spin out really serious stuff yet.
It's like there's two problems, right? One is that the design space is infinite, right, for code. So like if you give it like a very opinionated frameworks and things, it really performs well, because then it really tries to optimize to work within the confines of the framework and go in a good direction. And another thing is, it really works well to make single tasks too. Like make this very complicated thing, but it's just a single function complicated thing. It does very well. I made it like I was fucking around with it in some Django, because like I'm like, let me pick a very horrible but very opinionated framework, right? So at first he built something using SQL and stuff, and then I'm like, okay, no, I want to change it to Redis, so I use Reddit ORM. And then I'm like, oh no, I don't want to use it. Reddit ORM is retarded. So like I want to use this other library. I sent you the link, called ROM. Fantastic library. It makes like, it's what Redis should have been like used. So, and dude, like first I built this whole application, like a business accounts payable and all kinds of shit solution, right? And then, like, I managed to change the database structure and all the models 3 times within 24 hours. Like, and the bugs were very reasonable. You just kept it like, like sort of like going through it, and I made it create a lot of task data. So it just kept on iterating through the bugs by itself. Like, and it got to a point that was like, okay, well, this is what software would have looked like, in the first sort of like few months of the software like release. Like, scary good, very scary good. Next is, I think I'm gonna try to make it build a software that nobody wants to do, is because like all Bitcoin software for business sucks. Like really, like it's horrible.
Yeah.
Like, we have apps for people to buy coffee, but like there's nothing, and then there's Sparrow on the other end, but there's literally nothing for a business to operate. So I'm gonna try to see if we can do something there without handling the transactions. It's very scary to have the bots build transactions and money gone. Anyways, do you guys know any sort of like business Bitcoin software that's like for business?
Zaprite.
Yeah, but that's just the cart. Like, there's not. Like,
yeah, it's the cart and the invoicing stuff, right?
That's for like a small business to just collect. Like, that's not.
I mean, are we talking like what's the business use case that you're looking for here? What a great way to snipe all the nerds to go build something. Is this like tax accounting software?
Think about a business. Okay, so what does what small business need to do? I know it sounds crazy.
It needs insurance. I know that.
Yeah.
Then you should talk to Rob.
Yeah.
By the way, I didn't introduce any of the guests today. We have Paul.
Oh yeah, we just totally we ninja launched.
And we have Rob. And we have NVK. Oops. So anyway, so what does business do? Like needs, right? Like it's like, think about it this way. You have like your treasury, you have your like warmer savings.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a deeper operating account. And then you have an operating account, kind of like a checking account. And then you have sort of like account receivables. For some is going to be invoicing sort of system for a store or internally. And then you have an accounts payable, right? So you have to like, pay people.
Yep.
Right. And these things are all interconnected, right? Because especially if you have a business that has to pay taxes and does Bitcoin, because there is a weighted average cost for coins, right? And that's how you pay capital gains every time you use the coins, right? And that's what like accounting software does, right? But accounting software for BTC sucks. And another thing too is you need privacy, right? Because if you're receiving UTXOs from customers, you need to do some round of privacy. It doesn't have to be perfect privacy. You're not trying to, run a dark market and run away from the NSA. It's just like just so people don't know how much you earned, for example, when you pay an invoice for one of your people.
I mean, like every spend shouldn't be a spend all where you just, here are all my UTXOs in my wallet. You pay like $10 and you have to move $1 million of Bitcoin to do it.
So your ideal like vibe coded version of the software has all the information and could even present you the kind of transaction to make. It just doesn't actually control the money.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a first iteration is it produces, like it doesn't even have to produce PSPTs, right? It just says like, take this UTXO, from this account, because it could be that your account is just a massive list of a single account of UTXOs. It's just the way these UTXOs are managed is in the accounts, but it's like a abstracted away, right? And another thing you need is like for doing a round of privacy. I mean, it could be like submarine swaps. Maybe you submarine in, submarine out. Maybe it's enough. Maybe the savings account is just joint markets, being a market maker. It produces yield. And it does rounds of but it's needed. Like it's like, unfortunately with Bitcoin, like you can't just like take the money and pay. Like it's not like normal fiat that way. Like you're screwed privacy wise and security wise too, right?
Does this business software also need to be able to create like invoices and generate addresses? Does it have an XPub in it? Does it have like a Lightning API?
Yes, I'm thinking it would, ideally. So on a light version of it, but that's easy. Generating like a safe list of addresses, that's pretty easy. The problem is like everybody sort of like is approaching this problem like fiat. It's like, oh, I'm a software to generate invoices like Zaprite. Like, good for them. They're doing like, it's great, cool company, but like it's just a tiny part of the problem, right? And because of this weighted average cost problem that you have across the whole spectrum of transactions, then you have to prove to the taxman the whole thing, right? These things need to be fully integrated. They have to be, it has to be verticalized. And big companies do this. Big companies do not use QuickBooks Online. They have their own custom accounting solution, right?
I'm so excited about this kind of era of people like using less SaaS and more like building exactly what they need.
Yeah.
Because if you think about like, to make a SaaS, you have to solve the problem, and then you also have to genericify it, whatever that word is.
Generalize it.
Generalize.
Thank you, guys. And you have to add like all multi-tenant auth and all the, you have to add like, you kind of have to 10x the complexity just to make it multi-tenant and to serve multiple different businesses.
Yes.
So what if you just made the 1x of that software that just solves the problem for the company?
So this is kind of how the CoinKite store was born.
Fork it and install it and run it themselves and modify it. But that's kind of where I feel like the way vibe coding replaces SaaS is people not making SaaS.
Yes.
Because if you're making SaaS, it's really complicated and you need to be smart. And if there's one thing I'm not when I'm vibe coding, it's smart.
Yeah, no, I mean, like it's like when I was vibe coding this other application there for like accounts payable and stuff, I was like, I was trying to think like just being a business person and sort of not trying to get like in the linting of the code problems. Like I'm just like, okay, and now I need staff user to be able to like edit invoices, but not the customer, whatever, right? Like, and the thing just fucking goes in there and does it. Like it's like, does it produce bugs? Yes, but it's not like it's good enough, man. It's like, it's like I can see how SaaS goes out of business.
Yeah.
Sorry, SAP.
So like the
SAP
software, what, SAP?
No, SAP.
Oh, SAP, the actual SAP, like the big enterprise like payment systems. Yeah.
Because that's what they do.
No, they're massive. Yeah. The whole end-to-end cycle. So for the product requirement doc here, what you're talking about, and this is a call to action for anyone to go out there and just vibe code and build this up, is you want to be able to have multiple tiers of wallet, a deep cold storage wallet, like a hot spending wallet, and maybe even one that's like a pocket change wallet that's like super minimal.
Yeah.
Right. So you have like 3 tiers, like simple, medium, like difficult, like warm, hot, warm, cold kind of tiers of like storage.
Yep.
You want to be able to pull in accounts receivable, accounts payable, user permissions to kind of say staff can kind of modify like invoices or look through things, but they can't move money.
Yeah.
Right. You want to be able to ideally have each of those warm, hot, cold wallets mapped to an output descriptor of like different whatever you want it to be.
BIP 329 labels, because here's a cool thing, right?
BIP 329 labels. Yeah.
You can be an executive in a company with like enough money to say like pay for things at a conference, whatever, right? And then you export the labels and you just import into these things as if it was the receipts,
right?
And then it does all the accounting bullshit, like, because the accounting problem is never going to go away if you're like, a sort of like a a registered company that pay taxes, right? Like you have to, like it's not a choice. Like, and the level of accounting you need because of the tax bullshit is pretty crazy, right? Like you need to get down to the paperclip.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, like I don't see anybody solving these real problems. It's like, you know, for example, like Phoenix, fantastic Lightning wallet, right? You can't even have two fucking wallets in it. Like it's one. Like so what people just have one, like it's only for people that buy coffee. Do you know what I mean? Like, what if it's a business expense coffee? Like, can't you have like two? You know, like it's just so like. I think the biggest problem is that like in Bitcoin, the majority of the software is done by like coders, like for coders kind of thing. And then like you know, people try to serve this ephemeral grandmother that doesn't exist that wants to do Bitcoin for some reason. And or they try to serve like, you know, the crypto anarchist. But there's nothing like for the other 90% of the market, which is like a small business that needs to just fucking do shit in some accounting.
I disagree. I love using Bitcoin Core Wallet for all of my finances.
On your phone.
On my Bitcoin Core Wallet, yeah, on my phone. I just shell in on my phone to my server.
No, Arc Linux on your phone with Bitcoin Core. GUI.
I do feel like it's almost something that we've kind of trained into ourselves as an industry. Like, oh, well, Bitcoin is not world dominating yet. So when we build something, it must be for either to protect the cypherpunks from prison or to widen the funnel to like get in new people.
Right.
So we're always building products for the cypherpunks or for the new people. And there is that sweet spot that's kind of underserved. I mean, it's always like a really small market typically, but like people who actually use Bitcoin right now, you actually use Bitcoin a lot. What are your pain points?
Exactly. It's like, and it's a lot of software to write. Thankfully, there's it's a lot of annoying software to write.
Mhm.
Like anybody, if you've like, we had to build the whole CoinKite store, right? That does ERP, does accounting, there's a bunch of shit there, but it doesn't, you know, it doesn't manage the money outside of that.
Yeah.
And you know, every fucking company that like earns in BTC needs to handle these problems, and it's only gonna grow, right? Like, and I don't want to plug my fucking UTXOs into QuickBooks Online. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Like you're asking for it, right? Like even if it's like read only, like you don't want that. And then there's nobody working on like this sort of like middle ground level of privacy that is just to prevent, you know, the receivers from knowing how much you had before. Yeah, the huge business opportunity. Like, I mean, we would be paying a company like that if they had the SaaS for us, like probably like a few grand a month. Like that's how much people spend on accounting software. Like totally normal. Like people are fighting over like fucking like, you know, basis points that you make on you know, all these other solutions out there where there's like a bunch of businesses that'll pay you thousands of dollars a month. and be tied to you forever. That's the other part too. It's like you can never leave the accounting software you're in ever.
All right, I'll be right back, guys. I need to work on something real quick.
Yeah, you got to push out some code.
And it's done.
I think that first part of the podcast just works as a prompt, right?
That's right. It just feed right in.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. It's like if you're ever going to write prompts for Cursor, get O1 to do it. Write a huge design spec document on O1 and then feed that on.
There are multiple ways of being. I don't want to be prescriptive here. I think there are different times for different. There's times to just iterate and converse, especially for some like a small brain person like myself. Like I'm all about seeing the pixels on the screen. I can't do that waterfall design. And then there's other people who are having great success or other problems that are really well suited to making a design document with O1 Pro, pay $200 a month and like just knock it out of the park. And then we're also, like Rob mentioned, we still need real programmers who actually understand what they're building. They understand memory. They understand the computer. They understand the language that they're working in. And they actually are doing really good because like that's what we're all building on top of.
Yeah, but those people are not building business software, right? That's the difference, right? Like I think we got to a point now where it's like you can attack business software, but that's where it ends. Like that and UI and make the CSS better, shit like that. But like, you know, I mean, good luck to these bots trying to design hardware and write firmware.
You get this new form of tech debt too, right? To your point, I agree with you. The more refined scope and specialized knowledge you get, there's less data out there for to be trained knowledgeable in how it all works. But you also have this new form of tech debt, which is like knowledge debt. Like, oh, something broke, and you're like, I don't know how. I vibe coded it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Like, whereas if you like go through step by step mechanically for the lower level things you understand, you are able to quicker triage than if it were just like, oh, this AI coded it up, right?
That's why, like, for example, the military, right? When they design software, what they do is like oftentimes you start with like a design doc right that's the first file on the code base. And then you break that and you go into more files and you're essentially sort of breaking down each part of the design spec with code. And every file has the part of the design spec that represents that file right at the top of the file. Because the way you kind of think about it is like the software needs to live for at least 50 years without being touched. And nobody's going to be alive, or maybe the whole people who are working on it get shot. And like, how do you exist outside of that person that knew that one thing, right? Like, it's a very cool way of doing software.
Yeah, it's like, when I go to the grocery store, they don't put my groceries in an Otter box or like a Pelican case. Like they don't,
Yet.
Like it's a disposable thing because this only needs to survive the trip to my car and maybe the trip from my car to my house,
Yeah.
So like, I feel like that's one heuristic is like, how long does this code need to live? How long does this need to survive?
Yep.
It helps determine how understood it needs to be and how like carefully planned it should be.
Yeah. It's really cool. We definitely crossed a chasm now. Like we're on the other side. We're just starting to see how it plays out. I think like people who are very creative, people who are very knowledgeable, and people who have vision are going to do very well. And then everybody's
like Justin says, it's the age of the idea guy.
One more question for AI.review before we hit the list where nothing's happening in Bitcoin. For front end stuff, Paul, I know you're a design front end guy. Like, what's been your usage of it? As a back end, no pictures guy, I see the use for it, but like, how are you, like, if I want to make new screens, I want to do stuff, like, how are you leveraging it right now to do that kind of stuff?
I mean, yeah, it depends on what you're doing. Like, I have
a Figma, right? I have a Figma. I already have assets and components built out. Like, what do you...
Figma is on thin ice right now, let me tell you.
Okay.
The fact that there's not some sort of MCP tool that's like all over the place that closes the feedback loop between Figma and Cursor, that they're really screwing up. But I screenshot things in Figma. I'll even screenshot the properties panel in Figma because it OCRs. Because like the thing is, when you screenshot something, it won't pick up the exact colors. It'll describe itself to it. When you screenshot something to most AIs, they OCR it.
Yeah.
And they describe it to themselves in text. So it's like, I see a blue nav bar, and so they might not get your blue. And then, it's great at writing Tailwind, which is wonderful. But yeah, my feedback loop a lot of times is screenshotting what happened in my browser and say, that's pretty good, or I wish it was like this. You can also, it's pretty cool, you can do wireframes. I think sometimes it's nice even to do really low fidelity wireframes if you want to, like, as a way of communicating to it. So, a lot of my friends are starting to use Claude Code because it's really fun to be more in the command line. The screenshot is so important to me, like Shift Command 4 on the Mac.
Yep.
That's a lot of my feedback loop.
Command Shift 5, you can just select little parts.
That's 4 for me. Command Control Shift 4.
Yeah, Command Shift 5 is like different. I do Command Shift 4 because I can draw a little box.
Yeah, Command Shift 5.
Command Shift 4.
Try Command Shift 4. It doesn't bring up the whole screen. It works.
Oh no! See, the thing is, they Command Shift 4 is the old Mac OS stack for screenshots. Command Shift 5 is their new thing. It's just that they never deprecated the old stuff. Command Shift 5, you select now if you wanted to go into preview.
Oh, it's for video recording.
No,
Command Shift 5 is for video recording.
pictures too. It does anything. And you can even select a window if you want to. But it's essentially like it's classic Apple. The old team build the Shift 4 shit, and then the new team build the Shift 5 shit. And then it just sort of never deprecated what the old one. But you can also select if you go in the options, you can select if you go to clipboard, if you go somewhere else.
Okay.
It's very interesting.
All right. I'm gonna.
The number increment is higher, so it must be better. Anyways.
But yeah, and the other thing is it works well for this iterative process for me. Like I'm not top-down planning.
I never got into Figma, man.
Well, you might have been right to skip Figma because they
like they always had this wishy-washy thing, very unpolished way to export files, very unpolished way to it's
the way it should work right now is that I should be creating a design system in Figma. I should make mock-ups of screens in Figma.
Yes.
And then that should be an API source of truth for my app.
Exactly. And if you move the fucking thing on the pixels, it just change the CSS.
Yeah, if I change a color token or a border radius in Figma, it just it should be the source of truth. And I don't know why they can't figure that out.
Yeah, Figma also produces very poor SVG files. Anyways.
Interesting.
I mean, as much as I hate Adobe owning everything, if they had merged with Adobe, it might actually have been better. Because, God knows Adobe knows how to export shit. So brutal.
So we've gotten to the first bullet point of housekeeping.
I mean, to be fair, we have covered a lot of Bitcoin sort of software ideas.
That's true.
All right. So yeah, we talked about the data machine thing. The Bitcoin security guide got upgraded. I've updated the section about some other basic security things. I'm noticing people are making a lot of stupid mistakes. So if you go on bitcoinsecurity.org and you scroll down to privacy and good security practices, I'm trying to keep these very ephemeral grandmother sort of vibes and limits of where we get into here. There's a lot of traffic on this website. So I'm really, really holding myself from getting a little technical here. This is very basic. It's just to start the rabbit holes. If people have ideas of other things I can put in here that are for very basic, few wins with people who would otherwise just lose, I'm all ears. We're looking for more beta testers for Cove, iOS beta on TestFlight. So this is a FOSS project, very nice iOS wallet. Use BDK, and they're doing NFC stuff. They're doing BBQR. This is sort of aiming to be a single sig, simple phone wallet that just works, and really trying to avoid the bloat. So trying to specialize on that. No Lightning, trying to keep it simple.
Boomer wallet.
Boomer wallet, yes. The way I like to think about it is your first real seed wallet. And what's cool is that you can then sort of, if you get used to it, you can use it with hardware wallets as well because it's PSPT compatible and stuff. And then
it'd be like a replacement from the blue wallet recommendation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's clean. I downloaded it, poked around a little bit.
So Praveen, the guy working on it, is funded by OpenSats. This is full FOSS, fork it, do whatever you want of it. And there is a nice little Signal group to give feedback to Praveen, and he's really working at it full time on this. It's really cool. There's a designer too.
Important.
Yeah, I mean, funny enough, we need more wallets. There is not a good wallets out there.
Who would have thought?
There's only 2 Lightning wallets that are usable, that are not full custody on iOS, which is Phoenix and Zeus.
Phoenix still out of the US?
Yes, that's right. And for Americans, there's just one. So yeah, check that project out. All right. Why don't I talk about this vulnerability disclosure first here? So there was this very believable email from Coinbase saying that they now believe in self-custody. This is clearly a real Bitcoiner who's the scammer behind this. The language of this email is perfect. Critical notice. Record the seed phrase. Oh, wait. Where's the title of this email? I need to find that. That was so good. Oh yeah, the benefits of self-custody. And he talks about it. Like, it is amazing.
Transitioning to self-custody wallets.
Yes. And they're so kind that they include a seed for you to use. I must say the language of this email like caught me. Like in terms of like get my attention.
That's the hardest part, is getting those words. It's so nice that they just give those to you up front.
Yes.
It's funny because like you could be so down the rabbit trail of Bitcoin as far as imbibing this culture of not your keys, not your coins, and self-custody and don't trust verify. But if you don't actually know how it works, this could still fool you.
Well, it's brutal, right? And we can thank, like Coinbase, Ledger, Blockstream, all the companies who leaked all the emails of their customers to the database of bad guys out there who now email every single hardware wallet owner who bought a hardware wallet in those companies saying, hey, let me help you, self-custody.
This relates to your section on the Bitcoin privacy or
Yes.
it's like the less your identity is tied to your Bitcoin, the better off you are.
And that's why businesses need some way of doing some rounds of coin join or something just to help with that too.
Today, what is that? That's Join Market, right? That's the only one that's
Jam,
which is the coin market GUI. Yeah.
So and it's a Join Market GUI. It actually works. The last I checked, Join Market had about 600 coins in bonds, just Fidelity bonds. So that's not even the full liquidity. So, like $30 to $100 million here and there is not nothing for liquidity. Yeah, apparently also, what's the name? Wasabi's back with like a free coordinator because nobody wants to go to jail. So that's better incentives. We desperately need more coin join solutions out there.
So I haven't used Join Market. Is that something that you can take your own PSBT and just kind of like shuttle that off to the side? Or does it have to be on the server?
No, it has to be on the server. It's
okay. That's fine. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I was just curious. Okay.
Yeah, it's just doing rounds. But it's like, but it's a market, right? It's not a coordinator. So there's nobody to put in jail.
Yeah, no, it's peer-to-peer. No, I'm thinking going back to that idea for a business doc, you would have like your hot wallet.
Well, just run. This software should have embedded like Join Markets in it.
That's what I mean, but you don't want that. You can't do that with your cold storage wallet because those keys are offline.
No.
Right? So your hot wallet automatically is using Join Market in the background.
The way you should do it, even for accounting purposes, it's like you have these UTXOs that just got moved to these different addresses in your join round, right? And then it sits there as an account, an actual accounting account.
Okay.
It's your privacy account that then does that, and then it comes out. So because see, you when accounting, you need ins and outs, right? And they need to match. So
understood.
So then you have the out matching the in on after the rounds, and then it shows that there was no disposition.
I love this. Compliant, tax compliant privacy software. I feel like this segment's sponsored by the Bitcoin Bugle.
I mean, seriously, like, why can't we have that, right? Like, most businesses out there have to pay taxes. It's not a choice. It's not like, especially if they have physical presence with employees and shit. So it's, anyways, so that would be great. That should be part of that.
Totally.
The state of privacy in Bitcoin is pretty dire, especially on-chain. On-chain is brutal. But anyways, all right. Moving on to COLDCARD Key Teleport. It's coming out soon. This is really cool. We released the design spec, and it's going to be KeyTeleport.com.
Can you tell the people at home what this is?
Yeah. So essentially, this was born of this thing where if you have decentralized teams, right, and you need to create a new wallet setup, you may need to transfer a seed to somebody who can put on metal or back it up somewhere, right? And he may be abroad.
Would you call this a designated seed phrase?
Designated seed phrase, something like that. Or you may need to send different secrets, right? Maybe you need to send an SSH key, you need to send something, right?
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, like, how can you do that if you don't trust the phone, you don't trust the computer, you don't trust the comms, right? But you kind of trust your hardware wallet because otherwise the money would have been gone. So
yeah,
that this is the trust assumption for this spec. So essentially we figure out like a little protocol for you to create a tunnel. essentially, between two cold cards. So you open a session by sharing a ephemeral HalDV key, and then you start the process. You can encrypt that package, right, with that session key to send it over, right? And then we have a few extra things there, so you don't have to trust part of the protocol. We have some extra password, a PIN. There's a few more things, nuances going in there. You can read the document later. But what's really cool is for actual Bitcoin private keys, I don't want to trust this protocol either. So you can double wrap the package, right? So you can encrypt the package first symmetrically in the cold card with AES using, I think we're doing 12 words kind of thing. And then that encrypted package then gets re-encrypted again for the stun. And then when the other side gets it, you can sort of like give that extra password in a different channel or never. Just hold it for me. It's kind of cool this way. So that you can transfer very, very, very sensitive material away. And you don't have to decrypt with computers.
I love it. It's a great utilization of the QR.
Yeah.
Right. Being able to just exchange that data.
Ideally, so you can do it on a video call with two cold cards pointing at each other, but that's probably not going to work well because of the cameras and the computer. So what we're doing too is there is a little website, the KeyTeleport.com, where we do the dance of QRs. So you can even save the QR and you can scan it from the screen and stuff. So you can share a special link essentially with each other over Signal or something and do the dance that way. What else? Oh, it's going to also work for PSBTs. That's what's actually holding us back, is that everything else is done. The problem is the PSBT stuff has some edge cases.
The PSBTs, as well as the secure notes and passwords, is pretty cool. I can now I can send over like extra metadata, right? That's really nice.
Yes.
It's also just a good way to like get the same private key on another cold card.
Yeah.
So you just want to like copy.
Yeah.
It'd be cool. I guess you could use BIP85's handoffs too, but you could just make that the master seed in Seed Vault, right?
Yeah, but sometimes you don't want the extra keys you're generating to be linked to your master secret, right?
Sure.
The BIP85 is nice, but has privacy concerns.
Sure.
So that's the idea. It's like you can just, create new secrets, send it over, send it to something else. I want to explore more this idea of like, what can we do without trusting the computer and the phone and the comps?
What if you were able to create a new secret like shared between the two? Is that part of like instead of like I'm sending you my seed phrase, I want to be able to like have two people who physically can't meet each other basically do like a Diffie-Hellman, right, to get secure comms, and then you could just make a new seed phrase between those two devices, each contributing entropy.
Yeah, but then you're like in Frost territory, like might as well do Frost shit kind of thing.
Well, I agree. Frost is the next step of this when you get PSBTs and then all that stuff. I'm just saying, like, if you want to make a new secret, you and I, like me and Paul, are going to get on a call. We want to make a new secret, and we want to be able to reasonably trust that each of us are adding to it.
This is the cool thing, right? Like, for example, we do have a feature for cold card coming. The cold card can be its own cosigner, right? So essentially, the cold card acts as the HSM. And what if me and you we're okay sharing one of the keys, right? But so it's a 2 out of 3, okay? You have the A key, I have the B key, and we have a C key. And we're okay sharing the C key with each other because we want each other to be able to transact without each other. However, we still want some auditing, right? Because like I know that it was your key that signed the transaction versus that was my key. But what if we're in different countries? So with KeyTeleport, I can share C key with you over a fucking video call securely. Right? And then you can have a copy of C key in your code card of key A. So I have key B and C, and you have key A and C. And then you can transact, and I can transact. And we can always know on chain who spent the money from their wallet.
I think there's a massive design space in having this cosigner feature where you have the cold card, you have a hardware wallet that will not just give you the seed phrase, right? You can't just be like, okay, you give me the master secret, and you're able to encumber it with rules like velocity logic, spending limits, whitelisted addresses, and you can have some sort of state management for how you update that.
Yep.
Like for each wallet, that is a massive upgrade in being able to have disaster recovery. And I guess related to this, if I have a cold card with the same seed phrase on two different devices, it's not deterministic, right? So that one physical cold card is the one that holds the co-signing key. If I use the clone cold card feature, does that also get copied over when I clone it? If I want to have a redundant backup of that co-signer key?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's part of the bulk payload that does
But
the whole.
remember, the trust model is it's okay, it trusts you.
Understood. Yeah, you have that makes sense. You're trusting yourself in this process.
And another cool thing too is it's plausibly deniable. So if the cold card does not see a PSBT that knows the internal key, it doesn't show that the other key is there.
Ah, nice. I mean, that's really interesting. I think that, like I said, opens up a lot of design opportunities.
I like to call it that because I don't want people aping their fucking life savings into that. So I like to call it the travel wallet.
Yeah.
It's like you can have enough there that like, you're way more comfortable with something like that than a phone, right? So you can have like, like you're going to buy a car and whatever you're going to do.
Yeah.
But it's not enough that like, it's like, there's still two keys in the same place.
We are like one feature of like somehow getting the diff state of the blockchain and like being able to snapshot things in there to be able to have like the ultimate secure signer.
That's the next step that I sort of been pushing internally.
What is the diff state of the blockchain?
You want to be able to like snapshot and be like, okay, this is not spendable until this block height. And you want to be able to somehow show that you've finally reached that block height, right?
The way I've sort of like decided personally I'm okay with this in terms of trade-offs is like, all I want is I just want UTXO information for the UTXOs that I have in that cold card. That's it. Like, so like if say Sparrow exports for me the UTXO info for the UTXOs that I have on my wallet, right? And I just save those inside the cold card. Cold card could serialize transactions. I mean, provided that we build that functionality. And then that's it. Next time you sync up, right? Like it just tells you that was already spent. The device assumes it was spent if it was serialized, right? And then let's say transaction failed or whatever, you cancel, whatever. Like once you get new state, it just updates the current state that it has. And then you're really in a good place because like, dude, you could have a cosigner and you don't need a computer to serialize transactions. And you can just tap a fucking phone to publish the transaction. Like, it's pretty powerful.
You're able to basically mitigate the online connectivity for state updates.
With UTXO control, by the way.
Yeah, like the coin control is nice too, but then like you don't have to worry about, you're able to have a secure way of just updating the state of what the current UTXO set is on the signing device. You don't need an online device anymore to do coordination.
And then what you can do is you can back up the device to an encrypted microSD. You can trash the device, hop on a plane, go somewhere else, and then load it inside the cold card again. And you have UTXO state, you have the keys, you can spend it. Like, without a fucking computer.
I love like we're getting into this level of the design space of the problem because we're just working within the current Bitcoin consensus. And you're just getting to a point where like one way or not, we're getting vaults. That's what this turns into. We're getting fucking vaults, whether you like it or not.
That's my plan here. I'm going to keep on working around this as far as I can.
Vaulting will continue until vaults improve.
That's right.
That's right.
Or just one byte on chain to do a little stuff, but that's fine.
I'm just like, I think I've arrived at this point now. It's like the security is good enough now that it's like, I just want, what can I practically do that makes like life easier? Like
totally.
I mean, I'm really waiting for Trident to launch. Like when can I start using it?
Yeah, that's something we're juggling on our side, is being able to launch a uninsured version of it. No formal announcement of timelines right now. I'm hoping in time for Op Next in 2 weeks. I'll have some cool initial proofs of concepts of showing the Q and the MK4 operating with everything, getting that tied in there. Fortunately, Bitcoin Dev Kit handles a lot of the abstraction of the descriptors and the PSBTs and stuff, right? So the marginal effort, once we add like the MK4 to add the Q, is pretty trivial, right? Like it pretty nicely clicks in. So, and then making sure all the UX is clean and nice.
Well, for now, Rob, all Rob wants is for you to have your keys backed up at the Ledger office.
Just give me 2 weeks, TM. 2 weeks. I'm working on it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's move on to the first item of the list here. Wait, it's not showing me the amount of time we've been recording for. Weird.
Days.
We're coming up on an hour.
It's an integer overflow.
Wait, weird. Man, the software is going to shit. Anyways, all right. Bitcoin Core version 29.0 RC2. I have not been following anything there we should know about.
I mean, this is the biggest things offhand. I'm pulling it up now for the features. Actually, I don't know. I think the truck was already part of this, right? So actually, I don't know what were the big things in version 29 to be aware of.
It really says how much we need Bitcoin to change.
Yes. Dropped UPnP support for mini UPnP, PCP and IPv6 pinholing, new startup option, block reserved weight, relay transaction packages containing ephemeral dust, some RPC changes, a new RPC, some updated REST APIs.
Migrated to CMake for the build system.
Is CISA in it?
no CISA. No CISA, no vaulting, but we rebuild the...
Okay, so we don't care. Moving on. No, I mean, this is my new sort of like, I really, like, it's like, it works, don't care.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what it's at.
Yeah. Fulcrum version 1.12.0, they updated a bunch of stuff. It's like, for people that don't know, it's a very fast Electrum server solution. Electris is the other option. Blue Wallet.
It works at Vision Pro. There we go. Blue Wallet, Vision Pro.
You can see everything.
Finally.
Blue Wallet updated, add Market, Android, allow app, Vision Pro, allow quick tap to copy address, Bitcoin Keeper, a bunch of stuff. Bitcoin Safe. This is an interesting project. I didn't know this, but it's the guy who was doing a lot of the work on Spectre DIY. Sorry, the Spectre desktop.
Yeah, he's one of the Spectre devs.
A lot more confidence on the project now.
Yeah, I met him at the Rust Summit. I think I mentioned this on the last pod that I was on. Interesting product. Wraps in Nostr to be able to do group chats too. It's kind of nice to have that idea.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you just want to be able to have, using Nostr as this coordination layer. I know I've mentioned this before.
No, Nostr can only be used for all the shit once we have privacy on Nostr.
Whenever it gets turned on.
Well, or we should be really doing for now is ephemeral Nostr NSACs.
Okay.
You know, and then that's it. Like, dude, like, you do not want any like financial transaction information linked to your fucking info.
Is a solution to this a private relay that gates who's allowed to join?
No, it's still your keys, man. You don't want that. Just because you need forward. The problem is forward privacy, right? If you lose your keys, somebody can find everything.
Got it. If someone has access to that Nostr key, they can go back through and look through everything. This is the double ratchet stuff, right? I know some people are working on this.
Yeah, either that or just ephemeral keys. Also, that would work for like just ephemeral private keys for Nostr. That's it. Just create a new one for every new session. Who cares?
Okay. Yeah. Then you have like a bit of a key exchange problem to set up the initial one, right? Because like you have to like link each ephemeral key and point to the next one.
I mean, it really depends, right? Like how you're doing the comms.
Okay. I do all my comms over KeyTeleport.
There you go.
There you go. I just use a key. We all get on a Zoom call and we all point our keys at each other.
Yes. Make lasers pointed at screens cool again.
That's right.
And yeah, no, but I think it's really cool that people are experimenting using Nostr as the comms, but like we need to fix Nostr first.
What's the DM that somebody's working on? The improved signal style?
Yeah, MLS. It's Jeff G. He's working on MLS for Nostr.
Does he have a client in the works?
Yeah. It's all there. You just can't download the client easy. You have to be a dev. That's on purpose, so people don't do stupid shit with it.
Interesting.
But it's already there, and that protocol is solid. There is also somebody else working on. I can't remember if it was a single or a double ratchet as well. A difference pack. I mean, I'm just partial to people just stop being stupid and just using OMEMO as an extra layer on top of it and just call it a day.
OMEMO?
OMEMO. OMEMO is essentially like the evolution of OTR. If you were an IRC a while back. Well, I guess a while back now.
Wait, so this is an extension for XMPP?
Well, ignore the XMPP part. It's like not necessary. Like
Okay.
it's just like just look at the spec for the double ratcheting. That's all.
Would you put this on top of MLS or put this on top of DMs?
You put this on top of standard Nostr DMs.
So screw JFG.
No, I mean until we have that, or see the thing is because Nostr is not hard consensus, you're gonna end up with like many different protocols that have different trade-offs for people to do different shit.
I mean, I just Nostr being an address book is so good.
Yes,
and so I really, I have a lot of experiments that I want to build that kind of like start with chat, right?
Just do that and then stuff like some fucking Hall DFE keys or sessions inside the fucking OMEMO channels.
Once I know I have like a secure session, there's a lot of stuff I want to do. So
okay, I'm opening another tab in Cursor. Hold my beer. No, but really, like I've been saying this for I'm like tired of screaming about this, but like for nearly 3 years now, all I need somebody to like, because this is somebody needs to own this, right? It's like it's not just sort of make it happen. Like somebody needs to own it. It's just like seriously, just put fucking OMEMO, which is or even the old fucking OTR, just port that, on top of standard Nostr DMs, and boom, you can have forward privacy to start fucking around with it, and it's completely independent from the protocol.
Yeah.
Right.
And then that would be okay. So you're trying to get transactions separate from your identity, right?
Yes.
So Rob and I want to coordinate,
sure,
and make a really cool PSBT together. One of the best PSBTs, some say. And is that okay that we started out with a Nostr DM that turned into this ephemeral session? Because at least we have the
because then it becomes just a dead blob, right? Like you can't go back, and you even lose the keys. It's perfect,
right?
Just rolling back to old days in IRC, the server operator can see your DMs,
right?
Essentially, right? Like, I mean, sure, some people figure out some other little trickery that you could do a little bit better, but technically, that was the problem. So, what this guy who created OTR, which is off the record,
okay,
all he did was just like, here's a very basic, and I think it was single ratchet, this very basic single ratchet algo that just shares something, and then you have a confirmation on the other side, and then you start essentially a secret session that then gets lost.
Okay.
It's super brilliant. It was like a lot of the IRC clients had that as just a plugin.
Yeah, on the Wikipedia for OMEMO, it says, in comparison with OTR, OMEMO offers many-to-many encrypted chat,
yes,
offline messages, forward secrecy, file transferability, or verifiability, deniability.
Yeah. It's brilliant.
So OMEMO sounds cool. All right.
And it's like nice OG kind of style software, right? Like you're not dealing with like Node problems.
Like Node.js.
Exactly. you have some like proofs are the wrong word. You have some the promises that was not done by Cursor. It proceeds.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that would be really cool. That I want to see that, and that can be integrated to the Bitcoin business solution software.
There you go.
So you can have company chat in there.
Yeah.
By the way, Nunchuck does a lot of that. It's just the accounting side doesn't exist, but they do a lot better than a lot of other solutions for coordination on multi-sig.
Well, Bitcoin Keeper does some coordination stuff too, right?
Yes. All right, Bitcoin Knots version 28.1 Knots 2025-0305. This update includes many changes.
Testnet 4.
Testnet 4.
The real testnet.
That's right. Yeah, I'm very grateful for Knots. I think it's great that it exists. It pisses off a lot of people, but I think it's great that it exists.
Every good software project needs its own Temple OS.
Yes, exactly. Like it's like
you want the one guy.
That's right. BoltzExchange updated. Blockstream Green QT confirms they will. Maybe I will take credit for this. I've been bullying them on every single release that they make. confirms they will add PSPT support after repeated pressure from prominent Bitcoin podcaster. Oh, there you go. Oh no, it was I think Johnny rickrolled me there, or it was you, Rob.
He just got me too.
Dang it! I got
I got so bad.
It was the two of you, weren't you?
No, I have nothing to do with this.
Impressive rickroll, I must say. I even clicked it. I normally don't click the links.
the ego stroking was masterful, Johnny.
Impressive, Johnny. I will take the L. I had option to request email containing users in lock time transactions. Great, but no PSPT. FullyNoded version 0.1.0-beta. This update removes all functionality related to Lightning and Bitcoin knots by commenting out the related code. BullBitcoin Mobile, they updated. That's cool. BullBitcoin's great. Those guys are great. RoboSats version 0.7.5-alpha updated. Bisq 2 updated. Zaprite updated. Zaprite, boys, you guys need to increase the scope of your software, sirs. Like, just invoicing is your vibe code. You're really asking to be vibe code replaced. It is very good. Like, it's very nice, very well designed, works really well. But it needs more, guys.
Yeah, I think Tony integrated that with whatchamacallit, because they just launched like the more generic payments API.
Yeah, they do it. They do Stripe. They do like a bunch of stuff.
So you can like integrate it in addition to Stripe, basically.
Yes. I think the main problem is this: like any business that would pay a bit more for software like that will likely need a lot more, and not like because they would do their own card shit like we did. Like this is great for like a lot of podcasters that invoice us and stuff. They use it. I think it's really cool. I'm just putting the weight of my needs on them in their review.
I just messaged the team saying that their ears should be ringing because there's lots of requests and feature requests and people wanting to give you more money.
That's right. Bitcoin Jungle app updated version 1.3.6 includes ability to add backup recovery email. I might have something to do with that. Oh no, not that one. Adds beta support for both cards, a protocol enabling you to link contactless cards. So yeah, I was in a place where they had them. It was kind of cool.
The Bolt cards, I think I've seen. They also had like they had those. They hand them out at Riga at Honey Badger. They were like cool little cards you can pay, and they tied in the NFC contact with LEDs on the card, so the Honey Badger's eyes would light up when you made a payment.
Yeah,
it was pretty cool.
It's very simple. It's like it's just like an NFC tag card.
Yeah,
that has an LN URL on it. As far as I understand. It's cheap and scalable for cards. SRI, Stratum V2 reference implementation, 80 day now. And for anybody interested, you can also use Datum.
I really thought this was out by now.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, it's what I don't get is like why people got angry at Datum. Datum is backward compatible with Stratum V2.
Yeah, I mean it serves a use in something that's simple and just launches and ships right now. It's like it's progress in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree. Stratum.work. New visual of Stratum.work displays precise timing for data for block template reception from pools. That's cool. Reality is like aside from the infighting on standards, which is like the very normal. I would be weirded out if people are not fighting over standards. That's when I worry. We're really moving forward to this. I think we're not too far off a year or two from having major mining pools full on, like having hashers have their contract, like having hashers having control over the block template. That's serious decentralization. It's really cool. That's a full on fuck you to fact. Like it's over. Like All right, Braiins OS updated. Coinselect. Coinselect is a TypeScript library designed for Bitcoin transaction management. What could go wrong? Just kidding. I nothing against them. I'm just making fun of JavaScript.
Miniscript mention. Descriptors lacking miniscripts.
This is probably like
they fixed a bug for dust threshold. Okay. Yeah, this is, I mean, as someone like has a TypeScript front end, like our architecture assumption is always just that like there's nothing ever on the client side in the browser that's doing serious Bitcoin things, right?
It's like a TypeScript BDK.
I'm looking at it right now. Take a poke in.
It sounds like it.
Mostly, I guess, it's a descriptor-based wallet.
Oh, it's the guy from Bitcoiner Labs. He's been working on some stuff. What's his name? Joe? It begins with a J. I'm looking it up now.
But yeah, Rob, I mean, I have a similar heuristic, and I'm a front-end dev, but like, I just like, if I got involved in the important Bitcoin things, then something went wrong in the project architecture.
1 second here.
Yeah, you're good. I mean, I can fill this in. Yeah. So the Bitcoiner Lab team, he's been working on TypeScript library that does Miniscript stuff. And I think he's also the dev for, there's a Bitcoin recovery where he basically does vaults with deleted key covenants on the mobile wallet, which is like, it's a place to go if there isn't going to be a change on anything. And being able to have that on the front end is nice. I think it'd be cool even just to have a basic TypeScript one to like drop in stuff and like get basic visuals and just run it in the browser.
Yeah, for exploring it.
Yeah, exploring and just like visualizing stuff. Like there's definitely an opportunity space for that. I wouldn't use it for large sums of money.
I really wish there was like some project out there in the JavaScript land. Listen, JavaScript won the battle because it can run on the browser, right? Like, I mean, that's it.
Right.
You know, you won. But I really wish there was a project out there to try to make a package manager that was a little bit more focused on security, and it was harder to get in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And things are properly signed, and like proper dependency, like reproducibility, all that shit. Like, you'd be huge. And I don't get it, because there's so many projects that depend on this shit for like they go out of business.
Like a Zap store of NPM packages would be kind of,
just call it fucking like Node secure.js, whatever. Like,
sure,
that's it. And just start fucking like handpicking packages and dependencies, and have stuff be signed properly, and just go slower.
Yeah.
And I saw there's a service for this too that does it for Docker containers, where they curate Docker images. So if you're using their stuff, like the default library isn't just mass pulling in every single Ubuntu like dependency at random, which I think there's definitely a marketplace for that. I mean, the only alternative is you do something like an HTMX, where you just like pull to the backend, where all of the logic's on the backend server and it's just visualizing it like as basic HTML on the front end.
I love that.
His name's Jose Lanabasso. He does he does the stuff at Bitcoiner Labs. So he's been working on this for a bit in different contexts. I know he hasn't. I'm trying to find the actual name of the project.
You've got this whole like Bitcoiner Lab like guide thing where they like, he's got like a playground where it like visualizes transactions and stuff.
Yeah. So he's doing some cool stuff, and the descriptors library too. He works on it, does all of the PSPT parsing as well as like creating the descriptors for everything with Miniscript stuff.
I mean, another cool thing would be too if there was just more desktop software. You know, like anybody doing anything that matters is doing on the desktop. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like.
On that topic, Ben and I are really close to shipping Harbor. We have an RC2, just, modeled after our heroes at Bitcoin Core. So people can download Harbor. It's a desktop app written in Rust. There's no JavaScript in it. And it's based on, it's got Fedimint and Cashew. You can join multiple mints. You can transfer between mints.
Tell me in the practicality way, like, what is the current, because I remember Harbor, but like, what's the current state of like functionality? So like, can I send like on-chain in?
Yeah, so Fedimint now supports on-chain in. There were some limitations that they had originally for what kind of on-chain inputs you could have, and now that's gone. So now modern Fedimints can receive on-chain. Cashew technically could. That's more of like,
I've been bothering Kali for ages. Like,
well, it's more of a problem with like, okay, I'm running a Cashew. If I turned on-chain and I'm running a Cashew mint, somebody sends 5 Bitcoin into my, like, how do I stop them?
You can't. Bitcoin is non-consensual receive.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's the bigger problem for Cashew, is how to figure out how to handle. But yes, you can
You can auto send back to the sender and just say, fuck it. If your funds get lost, that's your problem.
Well, so there's still a lot to figure out, and but Fediment, yes, on chain works, which is really cool.
To talk to anyone for permission on Harbor to do that. So, let's say, for example, you wanted to send, $50K worth of money to Harbor in on chain. Can I do that?
If the Fediment allows it, yeah. So you can, when you launch Harbor, it's Tor by default. You'd add the mints that you want to join, Cashew or Fediment, and then send and receive to those mints. And you can also transfer between various mints.
I've been using Macadamia. It does that well too.
Macadamia?
Macadamia.
I love the nut puns.
I know.
Is that like another multi-mint wallet?
Yeah.
Okay, I should check that out. I mean, like, it's pretty bare bones as far as like the UX of it, but it's
desktop.
It's native, or it's iced, so it's Rust. That's got, it's
Can you have multiple wallets in it?
No.
Or just single balance?
Single balance.
God damn it, guys.
Balance per mint.
No, but still.
Yeah. If you want multi-wallet, open a PR.
Okay, give me 1 second. Opening cursor.
Cursor.
It is the perfect way, because like for us, they always say, like, just open a PR, right? Like, you can open PRs of like medium to low quality.
It's like really passive aggressive, low quality PRs,
and then you're gonna have to review that shit. So we're gonna go back to open an issue.
Yeah, you get nerds. You sign up them and they're like, this code, I could write it so much better, and then you just troll them into writing the feature for you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna start doing that. You can do straight from Cursor. You don't even have to like download it.
There you go.
Did you see the pull request today? Because today's April 1st to bring in the poker client back into Bitcoin Core.
No.
Yeah, it was a good issue. I concept act it and said, let's get it passing CI and get it merged.
Sorry, Paul, you were giving us the rundown, so tell us more. It's super awesome.
That's it. That's what it does. It's a desktop app that connects by Tor by default. You can join Fediments and use on-chain with Fediment, and you can also join Cashews, which are just Lightning only.
Is there Lightning in it? Like, so you can fund it without Fediment?
No, right now there is no actual like local BDK or Lightning Harbor wallet. It's just you have these, you're just joining various mints.
Right.
So there is a seed phrase inside of the app, right? And it's just using that to derive. I don't know. Ben does this stuff, but
okay. So the current state of it is like, for you to use for a couple $100. If it's just eCash solutions, that's sort of like the limitation of it right now.
Yeah, it's for managing how you access eCash. I kind of think of it as I don't know, use it how you want to use it. Basically, and that comes down to, can you find trustworthy mints?
Right. Are you guys planning on adding Lightning? Like, for example, through some of the, Zeus has a bunch of like options on how you do that.
Yeah, like some LSP stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because like Ben and I are talking about this a little bit. It's like there's an aspect of like, are we gonna rebuild Mutiny?
See, the problem is that like all this cashew shit is amazing, but there's no liquidity.
Yeah, I hear that. So yeah, we're talking about it. We'll figure it out. I mean, it really depends on how people are using this and what they really need. That might end up being the valuable move. I mean, I'd kind of like to see if anybody uses this at all. We've been kind of so stealth about it. I don't really know how much interest there is in it right now.
I mean, if there was a way to put liquidity, I'd be using it all the time, because there's no good Lightning wallet for the computer.
I mean, I feel similar. Yeah, I love having a Lightning wallet on my computer. Yeah, it's a good thought. I mean, we have the most of the we have a lot of this logic already built with Mutiny, right? And it's easier when we're just shipping to desktop. We don't have all the WASM shenanigans.
Right.
I mean, Ben and I were graciously funded by HRF for this. I feel like we've kind of come to the end of that like scope of the first grant. So we might we
can fund it from OpenSats.
Okay, well, maybe we'll apply. I mean, there's so many things to build, but I felt, especially, and I've been kind of pretty focused on Harbor, especially like in January, February. I really spent a lot of time on it, and I'd kind of taken a few months off of wallet dev. I love making wallets. It's just really fun.
We need more wallets. There's not enough good wallets.
Apparently, we need more wallets. So apparently, NVK just can't figure out how to move Bitcoin around. And
no, because it keeps on getting fucked, right? I mean, like, it's like really, like, Electrum is sort of kind of, not there, and you can't just have one, like Sparrow. Like, you can't live in a world where there's just like one good, featureful sort of piece of software left, right? Like, it's not a good place. Like, it really is that.
At a minimum, you want a second one to check the first one if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a basic thing that it'd be nice if you have something else that's sitting right there that can cross-check you.
And then for privacy, we lost two at the same time. Like Wasabi and Samurai.
Yeah.
We can't just have JM left.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's like, and this is the annoying part. It's that, like, again, I think it's because people keep on focusing on just coffee level transaction size. Where people should be thinking about, like, how do you pay for, like, whatever, like, think in terms of like a person's salary per year. Like, how could I put that amount of money through this piece of software in a year for all those small and big transactions?
I was always curious, for small amounts, right, for doing some level of trade-offs, why liquid with confidential transactions wouldn't get more play, right?
Because it's like
for small amounts, right? Like you're just trying to, like,
that's what BullBitcoin does.
And that's what BullBitcoin does, but like
you have to swap everything through bolts, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, that's not a bad in between.
Yeah, but there is no good UI for that either. Like, for you to just swap stuff around.
Totally.
Yeah.
That is like concise, right? Like, there is no concise, like, banking. Like, see, like, people love to shit on banking, but, like, you log into your online banking and it's there. There is like account 1, account 2, account 3, account 4, and then there is like pay bills, send money,
right.
Like.
And I felt like in some sense we kind of got burned with Mutiny. We kept on adding things. We had BDK on chain, we had LDK Lightning opening channels with the LSP stuff, and then we added Fediment. And for a mobile wallet, especially on the web, that it got too much.
Yeah, it was the PWA. It's the long approach. Like, nobody's going to do real money on PWAs.
But if we're making a true native, I think we can handle, and we have a good I really like our architecture on Harbor. It's like super straightforward.
That's cool.
And so it's literally two independent packages. The front end just sends messages to the back end, and the back end does all this kind of log running stuff. Ben was able to add Cashew relatively easily. So I could see us adding more stuff if that's really what people want. If that's useful, that'd be fun to build. Because I feel that too, where like there's aspect every time a new protocol comes out, I kind of want to like, I wish I could like fold that in and it could all be in that one wallet.
I feel like this last sort of couple years, like, a lot of people are sort of now starting to sort of live on Bitcoin. And I noticed this by, the invoices that we get from like different vendors or like different people in the industry. Like, a lot of them just gladly would get paid in just BTC now. And that was not true before. And, a lot of them have to do accounting and all this stuff. But they need to live, like, for real.
I'm full-time now. Like, all my income is in Bitcoin, and I do my expenses.
Can you show me your seed quickly? I'm just going to make sure the words are right.
Actually, no, it's you probably got the email from Coinbase. It's
same one.
Oh, just use that one.
Just use that one.
Yeah. So, but the thing is that you probably have this issue, right? Like, I mean, it's like it's very hard to manage that stuff in a reasonable way right now.
Yeah. And I mean, you mentioned the accounting stuff. I feel similarly. I'm kind of hoping like the custodians I'm using as my conversion to fiat are kind of the ones that are keeping track of it for me, but it'd be nicer.
No, because they go away too.
Yeah.
The amount of times we had an exchange account for the company, right? And then like they are out of business. So we've learned to screenshot the transactions and put in a PDF for the accountant.
Yeah.
Because we know it's going to go away.
Well, speaking of for the software, I already heard back from some of the guys at Zaprite. They're going to listen back to the episode, take the product feedback, and they're doing a webinar this Friday for their payments API, which actually sounds like a great use case for just leveraging Cursor. If they're like, here's all of our API documents, you could just start vibing out your Zaprite integrations.
I don't know if he vibe coded it, but Tony literally asked the Zaprite guy, because, they both work out of the Bitcoin Commons. He's like,
is that Bitcoin Park Austin now?
Oh, I'm sorry. Bitcoin Park Austin.
Yeah, we've expanded our empire.
Now that Austin's conquered occupied territory. Somehow Tennesseans have invaded. Yeah. So Tony asked the Zaprite guys, like, what's the fastest anybody's integrated the payments API? And he beat the record.
Nice.
No, it really is I'm just beating on them because they're the only people who are even close to what professional businesses need.
But they are serving the market. You just wish they had more.
Yeah, no, it's right now what they have is for very small business, like independent sort of contractor kind of thing. It's not at a multi-people organizational sort of business quite yet. And they don't want to become an MSB, so they're not going to offer Lightning sort of solutions in the thing, right? Which is fair. I mean, it's fucking nightmare. But maybe they should convert this into desktop software. Just charge a license, real people pay, even if it's open or whatever. It's because then you can maybe integrate with Zeus, right? For the Lightning stuff, or maybe integrate with maybe there's an API on Sparrow, and you can start doing that stuff on the desktop. So you're not sharing them any UTXOs, right? But all this stuff is sort of starting to talk to each other. That's a great path. If you can just call, you can have business sort of type API calls to Sparrow, right? So Sparrow essentially is just is doing all the Bitcoin related things, right? And then maybe it goes in and out as, I don't know, BIP 329. It's a label with an amount and an address or whatever.
I like that, Sparrow being kind of the
trusted part.
Yeah, the border patrol or whatever you call it, the customs guy, the guy who checks the documents and chooses who goes through. But you can do all this fun business logic before there that's outside of Sparrow.
I always call Sparrow the air traffic controller.
Yeah.
It's routing all the UTXOs and making sure things are landing and taking off and nothing's colliding. But I like the idea too. It's a cop too, because it's if it's not getting through here, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe that's one way of starting to look at this stuff, just try to integrate with other local apps, APIs, look without going to a server. Because that's another problem too, right? I don't trust SaaS of any kind, even from a best friend, to do UTXOs.
Yeah.
It's just that if they lose that information, now there is UTXO information on the internet. I don't want that. So guys, go back to a world where people just pay you to use that serial number for your software. It's okay.
The 37 Signals guys have done a good job with it. They sell versions of their software now that it's literally just installable.
And people will pay. They will support for new updates where, it's okay. Anyways, yeah, all right. We're just going to do this every 3-4 items. We talk about the business software for Bitcoin we want to see in the world. All right.
Project Spotlight.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, Sideband. Actually, I don't know what that is. I need to go look into it. Is it maybe part of Reticulum?
Sideband?
Yeah.
I was on Project Spotlight.
Yeah, Mullvad updated their stuff. They released Daita version 2.
Yeah, you missed some good vulnerability disclosures.
Yeah, cool. NymVPN officially launched its privacy solution built on noise-generating Mixnet technology. Okay. Ledger Donjon conduct security. Oh yeah, I missed that. Did I miss that? Where was that?
You missed it. You totally skipped right past all of the vulnerability disclosures.
Did I? Let's go back here.
What a safe month.
Oh yeah, so Ledger. Oh, that's right. Ledger pound Trezor's Trezor 3, Safe 3. I mean, listen, I've got a bit on this dead horse a little bit. Like, it's a terrible architecture that Trezor has, and like there was a very poor choice of secure chip too. They use the YubiKey, same micro IC that YubiKey uses that got owned as well. So everything there is just a matter of time, and it's showing. Anyways, how do you guys feel about this one?
This was basically the attack was being able to solder off the chip and put in a new chip. Was it? Or I'm looking at the security audit right now. Trezor safely incorporates secure elements in Optica Trust M, and then it looks like they could bypass the firmware and run modified code that could do remote recovery of all funds.
So, I mean, listen, most hardware wallet projects will do all the open source FOSS, sort of like key signing, key generation, all that stuff on the MCU, and that is fairly unprotected. So during runtime, if you had a way of reading the chip, technically you could export things, but that's when the difference is sort of like there is many ways for you to protect the code and the starting up of that code that are much better. And there's so much nuance on the hardware design and the firmware design, even though many of the hardware wallet manufacturers are using similar chips. So do your own research, and there are better hardware wallets than Trezor. There's a bunch of disclosures here. Anything that you guys want to talk before? Because I know Rob needs to go soon.
Drop soon. The one cool thing just on other things is that Coinbase fully open sourced their MPC architecture, including some stuff for Schnorr, which was interesting. So it's all C++. Probably, say what you will about Coinbase, they probably have a bunch of team of graybeards and PhD cryptographers hanging out over there.
Yeah, and people who audit the code too.
Yeah, so they opened that up, which is pretty cool to see. One other, not in the vulnerability disclosure section, it's a feature I noticed this morning. Let me drop that tweet here. Mempool now has a feature for address poisoning attacks where it will actually show you in transactions if someone's trying to do an address poisoning attack, it flags that transaction on Mempool space. And what the address poisoning is, for those at home who don't know, is you basically have the first characters and the last characters look identical to what someone would be using as part of your wallet. And when you do that, you can start tricking the wallet into or a user in the middle into being like, oh, the first 8 characters are the same and the last 8 characters are the same. I'm going to just send funds here instead. And there was an exchange out of India, I think, that got hit by this for a couple hundred Bitcoin. So it's an attack that can work. So Mempool Space just added a feature that actually flags when that happens. I took a screenshot of it in that tweet.
I mean, it's really funny. Yeah, Coinbase, got double spent quite a bit back in the day.
Was that Peter Todd that was doing that?
Yeah, he did it. He's the one that did it publicly, but it was known that people were double spending Coinbase. It's hard, man. Running an exchange must be really hard.
Yeah.
Even if they're assholes.
Rolling a bit, I see LDK announces VSS.
Oh, nice.
So we used this for Mutiny, and we kind of did our own implementation because theirs wasn't quite ready to go. But this is, Lightning really is not, you can't, having a seed is not enough. You need to have up-to-date state about your Lightning channels. So VSS is huge for that, encrypted ongoing backup of your Lightning state. So it's cool to see that shipping.
Sorry, who did that?
LDK.
LDK. Cool.
Also, I got to work with, I don't know if this is on here, I got to work on Second, just launched their testnet faucet and store and stuff like that. So people can start playing around with they're one of the ARC implementations.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, but ARC for real needs changes. So
no,
right?
No.
Did they sort it out?
As far as I know, there are multiple ARC implementations ongoing, and like the trade-offs are some level of. It's basically you as a user need to check in every once in a while, or your money in one of the ARC implementations.
That can be resolved by software.
Yeah, but I don't. Neither of them are requiring a soft fork. I do think there's like advantages if they had a soft fork, but I think it's an improvement over. I mean, you could think of it as just another kind of side chain type thingy.
Okay. Does it need? But it's not federated, right? Because that's always been the problem with Blockstream's Liquid. It's like you have some federated thing, so it's like hard to get the thing going.
No, it's not. You have a unilateral exit.
Nice.
Yeah, the second guys walked me through kind of like the various trade-offs. The biggest thing for like if you were making a mobile wallet is that sort of like you're going to need to come online for one of their rounds to like kind of confirm that money is yours or whatever. But yeah, both of the projects seem like they're moving along pretty quickly. It looks like Arc Labs has got a wallet SDK that's moving along.
Okay.
But yeah, the second guys have their faucet out.
Is there anything that is not like a demo app that is not for grandma to feed chickens on the internet?
We're in the feed chickens era of ARC right now. Like I think it's all. No, I don't think hardly anybody's doing anything on mainnet yet.
Okay.
Both of them are really proving it out, making sure it works and stuff.
Very cool. Yeah. By the way, anybody listening to the show, if you're making software that is not to feed chickens, they're like you're trying to help people live their lives, with their whole salary going through your system through the year. I'd love to hear from you. Like there has to be other stuff out there that we don't know about, and or if you're interested in building that kind of stuff too, let me know. I don't know. I feel like it's time. It's time. And then if you need insurance, talk to Rob.
Yeah.
Right here.
We're gonna make that be your jingle.
Do you have a jingle?
No, we don't have a jingle yet.
Oh man, every insurance company needs some sort of catchy jingle.
You guys need the gecko version of your thing.
That's right.
I'll vibe code you a jingle.
That's what I need. I need some vibe coded marketing.
There you go. Perfect. Guys, listen, thank you so much for coming. Ooh, let's just do quickly the boosts here. Let's see, Pink Monkey, Anonymous. I need to sleep often. Please keep shipping. From Jespa, Anonymous. Average Gary, Roaster Exit. Good tech content away from the usual price and macro talk. Oh shit, we forgot to talk about macro.
Macro. Interest rates. Macro.
Okay.
Red. Sorry to interrupt you. Scrolling, I noticed the funding section. I did recently get a grant from OpenSats for.
Congrats.
For Hypernote. So.
Oh, I think I remember that application. It was a knack from me.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't expect anything more, but appreciate that. And so I'm stoked on Hypernote. I wrote a blog post. It's on Nostr somewhere. If you want to try to figure out what I'm doing, but it's kind of hard to explain. So I'm just going to keep on working on it until it's kind of understandable.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Thank you guys. This was a lot of fun. We managed to do it in an hour and a half.
Very nice.
This was great. I love this little format of sort of not getting to the list for the first fucking 40 minutes.
That's right. It was good. Talk about vibe coding and AI and business, running a business in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Lots of opportunity there for someone to go build something.
There's so much business opportunity, guys. Like, not everything needs to be an app that works for grandma and can take $1 billion in VC fund.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's a lot of in the middle stuff there. Just go look at how many companies make business software and make real money. And they're not even the size of QuickBooks. Anyways, awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Peace.
Thanks for listening. For more resources, check the show notes. We put a lot of effort into them. And remember, we don't have a crystal ball, so let us know about your project. Visit bitcoin.review to find out how to get in touch.